We're back with another episode of Reliving the Race, the amazing race.
So today we're off to San Diego, Chile.
I died when she
Welcome
said
to San Diego, Chile.
So
Welcome to San Diego, Chile. Welcome to
That's
San
race
Diego,
brain
Chile.
Race brain. You're like not even thinking.
You're just trying to read and move and run and do all at the same time.
Yeah, perfect example. So did you like that little clip of me dancing in the beginning?
Yeah,
Was there like a little band or something? There was definitely music because I was vibing.
Yeah, it was good vibes for sure. I think it was. It was kind of lively. We got there in the morning. The sun just started to shine.
I really liked Chile, like the city and stuff. I kind of like snuck off to use the bathroom and I was kind of exploring on my own before we started.
Oh, at the subway stations that Danny was talking about?
Yeah.
So we got in that fight the last episode, right? And so the following nights we're like, okay, how can we navigate better? We made some adjustments in between the two different legs. And one of those adjustments was listening to Amber better and letting her kind of set the pace for our team.
So I am always running in front now. So we only go at the pace that I go. That way he's not having to turn his head and make sure that I'm behind him. He can see me at all times. So that was one adjustment we made. We're navigating again. So that's definitely something that we haven't done since the first leg. So then we had to go back to our navigation struggles. So one thing we did with the navigation was I'm reading the map, I'm trying to find the roads, but it's really hard to also see the road signs, and sometimes you can't even see the road signs. So it's hard to like look at my map, look at the road signs. So Vincent was really good about calling out the road signs for me. That way I can follow it on my map. Okay, cool. We just passed Santiago or whatever road, street,
And that's what she had told me the night before. Read the signs so that she doesn't have to keep looking down and up. And of course, it's like discombobulating because you're in the back seat, you're reading this tiny map, you got the pressure of the race, and then these street signs, I mean, they're coming up relatively quickly.
They are, and you're also trying to go at a fast pace. Because I think one time I said, you're going too fast, I can't read the signs fast enough, or I can't follow the street signs on the map.
And those signs are tiny sometimes, right? So these street signs, like you might miss one, and then the next one you see is like 2 or 3 streets down where you expected it to be.
And then they're like one-way streets, so then you have to turn all the way around, get back on the one-way, and go back.
I think driving is kind of the easier task between the two within navigation.
If you can drive stick, right? It's a skill. You just have to do it. Navigation, there's a lot more going on, I feel like.
But let me tell you a story. Like, we have prepared for this race on many different levels. And one of those levels was driving stick. And we went down to Mississippi. She had her dad teaching her how to drive, or kind of reminding you how to drive, because you've done that before.
Well, the first time I ever drove a car was stick shift. So my dad actually taught me how to drive stick before I even drove an automatic. But still, Vincent was a better stick shift driver.
Yeah, I've been driving stick all my life, so I had no issues with it. So when we went to Mississippi, we quickly learned that, there was definitely a skill deficit between the two of us. But then on top of that, we went to Ireland and we actually said, let's have you drive in a country that you feel uncomfortable with in a stick shift that drives on the opposite side of the road and see how you can handle that level of pressure. And I'll insert it in here and you will see.
We're off. Is your e-brake on still?
Where's the e-brake?
There's a car behind you, so if you hit that thing, we're screwed.
I thought you pushed it out.
And you will see, like, we quickly learned Amber is not going to drive.
I felt much more safe navigating in the back seat.
Me the
we
same.
might have gotten in a wreck had I drove.
We would have been Karishma and Kishori.
Yeah, we would have probably ended up in like swapping or something.
Yeah.
No one knows what the race is like until you're on the race. So unless you're like doing an all-star season or something like that, they know what it's like. So they have obviously an upper hand because they've been there before and they know what it feels like. We know what it feels like to have a patient code in the operating room. And so, of course, we're able to do well under pressure and manage it. And people always look to us like, oh, my God, you guys handled that so well. Like, I was like freaking out inside. And it's like, well, if we freak out, then the rest of the operating room freaks out, and we definitely don't want that.
So you got to control that energy. And so you hear me to Amber saying, reel it in, because she was getting anxious again when we were getting lost. Boy, we were like into the mountains. We did what Rod and Letitia did
before the roadblock.
Exactly. And so we're in these mountains. We're like, okay, here we go again. And so we're starting to feel that PTSD, that trauma from like the
first episode getting lost. Yeah. And we know we do not like the feeling of being lost. I mean, you heard Ricky and Cesar too. Ricky's like, I don't know where I'm going. I literally have no idea. And it's just like, it's like a panic, and you're like, I feel like I'm going the wrong direction. And you definitely don't want to be going in the wrong direction, because then you have to like do all these U-turns and one ways. And so we find Marilyn Monroe's car, but Ricky and Cesar are nowhere to be found. Like, they already came, got their clue, and we're out of there. Then we see the second group show up, and in my head I'm like, we took too long. And then that also shows how good Danny is with navigation, because those two teams followed him.
So we got lost for about 15 minutes.
Obviously, because they showed up. So you see me, helping Danny, because we have this relationship where we're just kind of helping each other. You hear me say in the car, we took too long. And that was us struggling again with navigation. And then it just shows how well Danny can navigate. He does not get lost. Honestly, it probably would have been better for us to just have stayed with the group of teams.
Yeah, I was watching the episode and I was like, dang it, why didn't we just say, okay, we're already with the second group. Let's go ahead and use our alliance. And maybe that would have kind of helped Danny have the strength or the willingness to work with us and be able to push away other teams, because I know the feeling when you're with other teams, you're looking for safety, and in your collaboration, that's where you find safety.
It is a good feeling when you have another team that you can kind of rely on, and we felt very loyal to Danny and Angie, and we felt like they would return the favors to us. So we had a very trusting relationship with them.
But later, I started to realize, and you can kind of see this in this leg, is that Danny is such a nice guy that he can't really say no.
We should have stayed. We should have stayed with Danny and Angie and Juan and Shane and Rod and Leticia, because then we all would have just gone to the roadblock together. But then again,
which would have resulted in a whole different placement.
Could have, but
100%, we would have been first place. I would have beat out the entire cast.
You're right, because they didn't get there too far behind Ricky and Cesar, because Ricky and Cesar got lost.
They were lost, and they
got there after them. Oh my gosh, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, so that was surprising to see that Ricky and Cesar actually got lost going to the roadblock. So we get to the roadblock. We get lost after Marilyn Monroe's Thunderbird. We head towards the mountains. We're going completely opposite direction than what we needed to go to. We finally make it to the roadblock, and we're behind. Like, we're in fifth, right?
Yes. And the reason why is in Chile, the roads are one ways, but they're not just like one way you could turn, make a little U, and you'll be fine and back on track. These are like big, heavy road one ways where you're like kind of on maybe what looks like a small highway, and you can't make a U-turn ever, and you can only do it like once. And so you're going all the way down these roads to try to correct your mistakes.
And there's only a few bridges where you can cross over the river to get to the other side. So if you miss it, then you have to go all the way down and then back across.
Not to mention there was construction too today. In this leg, you'll see that there's construction, or other races we'll talk about. There was detours in which that stopped us going down this one-way road, and then there's a construction site and detour, kind of like what happened to us in Mexico.
Yeah. Lots of obstacles. So we get to the roadblock, and we're in fifth place. We still see some clues, but we know we're behind because we got really lost. So I open the clue, and it's, what is it? Who's feeling bored or something? Who's feeling bored? So I'm like, I know we're at a skate park. I know that I can't skateboard, and I definitely can't build a skateboard. So I immediately was like, Vincent's doing it.
But I also confirmed that I used to skateboard, and I would feel very comfortable. But the cool thing is, back in woodshop, I used to build the board. And so I would build my board, like literally layers of the wood, shave it down, bend it, glue it, and all that stuff. Put the grip tape on, drill in the holes, put the trucks, put the little absorber shocks and all that stuff.
Like, I don't know what any of that is.
So I knew exactly what to do. Regardless, I wanted to skate, which I thought we were going to skate, but then we ended up building it. It ended up working out in my favor.
Yeah, you crushed it. I mean, we weren't far behind the other teams at all. And then Danny, gives you the tip on the wheels.
But can I mention
what?
One and done again. Right? So again, that is our strategy, one and done. We want to make sure we perform well. But a little bit of truth is it wasn't one and done for me. So I noticed that when the person was boarding back and forth, what they were doing was they were doing like kick flips and ollies and varials and all these tricks to like switch from one position to the next. And so the four different colors of the wheels were rotating. And I made like a small mistake of one color being the other side. But everything else was kind of dialed in. So I quickly switched those wheels out and I was out. But they did show us as a one and done. But we were really quick, very fast.
I think it was literally like a second and you got it. So we get out of there, and this is actually really funny. They didn't put this in there. We picked the Detour, the Pesos Detour. Was it Pesos?
It was perform for Pesos or climb for clues.
And I said, oh, this will be perfect. Vincent has the charisma. I've seen past seasons where they have to do these.
And he'll
be
money.
Perfect. I'm like, he can take a shirt off. All the ladies will love it. And
I will dance.
Yeah.
I will just act a fool. And I think we would be fine.
We would have been fine.
Could you do that drum thing?
That drum looked heavy.
Yeah.
Can I carry that?
And then there was like rhythm to it.
I don't think it really mattered with the rhythm. I think you just kind of walk around with it.
True.
It wasn't like we were judged on the beats and stuff.
I see.
So we ended up getting lost again, and we ended up at the tower, the rock climbing tower, and I was like, let's just do this one, like we're already here. And we get there and there's just Juan and Shane, and I asked, I was like, has any other teams been here? How long have you guys been here? And he said, we just got here.
And they were just getting strapped up too. We're like, oh shoot, we caught up.
We did, getting from the Roadblock to the Detour. So we do the Detour, and Vincent freaking climbs up it so fast. He's like a freaking spider.
But it wasn't easy. Was not easy.
I mean,
you
made it look so easy.
Yeah, sure, but it was not easy at all. Like when you get to the top, I got stuck at the top, which they don't show you that. And I remember like thinking to myself, I'm not sure if Amber is going to be able to get up this, because I was stuck for a minute. And then I finally got it. And then when Amber got strapped up and went up the wall, you almost had no trouble. Like they made it look like she had trouble, but you got stuck for that one little part. But other than that,
yeah, I couldn't figure out where my placement needed to be. Like I felt like the rocks were all kind of too far apart, and I just couldn't get like the grip, It was
one of those motions where you had to grab get your foot placement and then jump for it right at the same time.
Right. But I felt like I was on that spot for so long that my legs started to give out, because I kept on like trying to hop up and not getting it. And then that's when I was like, hey, my leg's shaking.
So when we were in Boston, we actually signed up for a rock climbing class, and we had a guy from Switzerland like teach us how to walk through these steps and talking to each other as to what is your next step so that you can plan for what to do.
I had never rock climbed before.
Same.
Practicing for the race. So this was all new to me. And I felt like I would use my arms a lot, and he would try to correct me and be like, no, that's not what you want to do. You want to, extend and then use what strength was he talking about? Like your fingers?
Well, your forearms and then your back, and then you wanted to use your legs as much as you can.
And then he talked to us about like kind of resting and like perching with your legs.
Yep, and using your forearm or your foot, not to use your toes, kind of use your heels, so you're not straining other parts of your muscles and you're fatiguing. And so in the race brain mind,
I'm just trying to get up. There's no strategy. I'm just like, just get up this rock as fast as you can.
And so you could see we're trying to mimic and imitate the things that we were taught and learned when we were practicing. And she goes, "Can you just shut up, please?"
Yeah, like I think I've said it before. Whenever I'm focusing on something, if someone else is like trying to talk to me or something, I can't focus on what I'm doing. And I thought that if I let go, I was gonna go all the way down.
Same.
So I was terrified. I was like, if I lose grip, I'm going all the way down. I'm gonna have to do it again. And I was like, I cannot do that. We're getting up this freaking thing.
Because you're all the way there, and if you fall again, you might not be able to get up again because you're so tired.
Energy. Exactly. I think we did really well that leg. Like, yeah, we kind of bickered with the navigation, but I feel like after that, I think we're learning how can we support each other in those moments of stress and tension, pressure.
So we finished that, and now we have to find our way back to this old train station pit stop where Phil is. Mm-hmm. And we got relatively lucky when we went. By this point, our navigation, we've gotten kind of a little more dialed in. Mm-hmm. We pretty much know Chile at this point. We drove the whole town, the whole area at this point. So we kind of knew where we're at. And I had told her, hey, these are one-way roads. There's only one way to get back over this water and cross and then go back. So then we immediately got to the pit stop.
Yeah.
And she was able to identify the little tiny flags that you see. They're not big old red and yellow flags. They're these two little tiny flags. And you get into the parking lot and you run in and all you see is the silhouette of Phil.
Yeah. We got done with this like super fast. Yeah, it was really nice.
You're right. This day was actually one of the fastest days, which was cool, but it was also kind of like you were yearning for more.
So yeah, I'm excited to see the next episode.
Let's talk about those previews, though.
Yeah, so it has me, you, Rod, Leticia, Danny, Angie kind of working together. I think.
And what did Yvonne or Melissa said? I think they're shutting us out.
You got the other team shutting us out. You're not trying to shut other teams out, you're just focused. You're trying to.
There's one thing that you want to do on a mega leg.
Survive. That's it. And so we went into that day with the mindset of we just want to survive. We don't want to expend more energy than we have to. And
someone's going home. Let's make sure it's not us.
Right. So
stay tuned Wednesday nights.
We'll see what happens. Yay.
Dream Team.